Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kyle, for those of you that are new to our channel here at Jeep Boys 12. Today's video is going to be all about our RC stuff that we have going on. The reason I say RC stuff is I'm going to start a new series of videos that are going to be about all of our RC crawling that you see here in the background behind me. I know a lot of you don't follow along with our channel for the RC stuff, so hopefully you'll continue to follow along with us. But for those of you that are interested, stay tuned because we have a lot of content coming here while it's cold outside, it's snowy, and when we're not outside skiing or doing running some Jeep trails, we're playing with the RC cars while we're inside. So that's what today's video is going to be about, is kind of showing you what we have coming up and what we have with our RC crawlers. And we'll talk about what's to come here in the near future. So we're here at my basement, and this is kind of where I have set up a bunch of my RC stuff because by the time I started accumulating parts and rigs and everything, I needed a place to store them and not just throw them in a bag. So I wanted it to be nice and neat and organized. So what you see back here is my pegboard wall. I'm using a portion of our basement. We got a decent sized basement, but I'm using a portion of an unfinished wall here to store all of a lot of my rigs. But let me kind of show you around the basement and show you piece by piece what's going on down here. So for starters, I have this Cobalt step ladder that's mainly for Aspen to be able to get up and see what's going on our RC course. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But also so I can get up and get to some of the tall spots because I'm not very tall. Next up, we have my Jeep crate. This was for my Mopar lift that we did with my Jeep Gladiator. It came in this box, so I've kind of repurposed it a little bit. I put it on some wheels so we can move this thing all around, make it nice and easily movable. And inside, I store a bunch of my random parts, things I don't always need access to. On the wall, you'll see I've got some medals, some trophies from the RC stuff because I'm pretty passionate about being competitive. I have a bunch of my tools, some spare parts, a bunch of spare tires. You'll see a conglomeration of things here on the wall. Some batteries, battery chargers. We've got the Losi Mini LMT Gravedigger. A bunch of controllers, transmitters. We've got the little trailer, little spinning wheel. You guys will see here very soon. You've seen it on the channel once already. I got some spare bodies. I got a Ripper chassis that my buddy Dennis printed. We're going to try and put together at some point. And then up here over on the side, you'll see I've got a bunch of rigs. And these aren't all of them. I've got some you'll see here on the bench as well that I'm currently working on. But this is where I'm storing all of them currently. These are my 24 scale, and then there's a couple 18th scale rigs as well. And over here, this is where I store my 10 scale Gladiator. Normally on this nail is the base camp 10 scale. Then I got a couple bashers or a few bashers, some spare tires, the 10 scale batteries and the 6 scale battery, and a little flywheels ramp. Now moving over here to what I'm just going to call our old TV stand. You'll see I've got a couple cases. Those are for what I transport my RCs in. I also have my old soccer bag that I use sometimes. And then I got a box full of gates, some styrofoam to help work on the course. We'll talk more about that in a minute, as like I mentioned. And then I've got a few tables here and some supplies. The supplies of wood and styrofoam, and there's a bunch of rock under here and some dirt, is for the crawler course. I've also kind of got this side set up for a bunch of the stuff to be able to work on the course. You'll see I got a bucket full of lava rock and some big boulders. These are full of dirt that I'm moving around right now. I've got one bucket left full of dirt. Got some paint, some little tiny shovels, hand shovels, and a water sprayer. And again, I got some wood, just some material to be able to work on the course. Got my 6 scale set up on the stand, that thanks to my buddy Travis who gave me the stand. Little camping chair. Aspen's got his toolbox, or toolboxes I should say. And then this is the bench that I'm using right now to work at. I previously used to do all my work on top of the Jeep crate, but the Jeep crate, when I put the wheels on it, makes it a little tall for these chairs. So when I get one of my other chairs out, it makes it a little bit taller, makes it a little nicer to be able to work on top of. But the thing is, now that those casters aren't locking, the table or the crate can kind of wiggle around while I'm working. So it's been nice to work here at a table that's not moving around. So this is where I'm doing this right now. So you'll see this is my box full of parts, and these are the rigs that I'm currently working on. Got a Little Guy Racing Parts work mat, and then I just bring my tools over from over there. Maybe eventually I'll set up some tool stuff here and then save some room on the pegboard. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. A little light here just in case I need it. I'm thinking in the future, you guys tell me what you think. I'm thinking about, before we finish this basement, while I'm doing all this RC stuff down here, I'm thinking about getting a backdrop for this wall, something that would kind of look cool. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'd just do another thing of pegboard. That allows me to be able to put my tools over on this wall. But the whole purpose of having all these tables down here, when I have the course finished, which it's not currently, all of the stuff that's underneath here and over on the side and all the tools over there, that will all be gone, because I'll store it somewhere else. I'm not going to have all of this left over, and whatever I do, it'll be stored somewhere else. It won't be down here. The goal is to be able to have an actual competition down here in my basement. And I know to most of you that probably sounds pretty silly, but for me, I wanted to be able to host my own competition. We go to this one private competition, not weekly, but they do host them weekly. I wanted to be able to host my own. We've talked about doing a series because there's enough guys that have their own courses now that we could do our weekly events at a different place every time. So that was kind of my inspiration behind wanting to really get this finished up and do a course that's really good for competitions. Not only for that, but for me, while I'm testing my rigs here, it gives me something good that I can actually get feedback right away, because now I don't have to go up to reaction, which I'm not saying I'm not going to still go to reaction. I'm going to go to reaction. It's just a thing of, I've got it here. So now I don't have to make a special trip to be able to go and test my rigs, and I can just do it here at home. So that's most of the basement here that you see. Like I said, the whole purpose of having these tables is for guys to be able to set their stuff, to be able to set their drinks, whatever they've got while they're here to have the competition. And when I say I plan on having a competition here, I'm talking like maybe 10 guys at most, probably. By the time we have 10 guys in here, it's going to get a little crowded, and parking in my driveway and on the street is going to get a little hectic with more than 10 vehicles. So the nice thing is that this stuff can be easily moved. Obviously the pegboard not as much, but like the rest of this stuff, I could move it somewhere else within, half an hour. I could have all this stuff out of here. So let's move on over to the crawler table and give you guys the details on that. So the crawler table, I plan to make an entire video just going over all of the details of it, but I want to show you guys just real quick what I've got currently, just as a baseline for future videos. But I previously had some dirt here. I realized pretty quickly that I needed some more depth, so I didn't have to use so much dirt. So I pulled the dirt back out, I put some foam down. Now I'm going to put the dirt back on when I've got a little bit more time. I've got this setup here that I'm calling Marblehead, where they destroyed Marblehead over here. And then I've got a bunch of other lines here. We did have a mud pit with some BBs in here. It became more of a problem, and yeah, there's ways of getting it fixed and ways of building it right to where it's not a problem where BBs are going all over the place and dirt's getting down inside with the BBs. But I've decided that I'm going to go in a different direction and a different route. So I'm going to be building something different in this area where the mud pit was. We've got a line here. Probably one of my more favorite lines is what I'm going to call right now, it looks like a split open gobstopper. But basically like a V-notch here and then a couple other little notches here that are pretty good for a 63 millimeter tire. This is my bridge. I'm going to call the natural bridge. I'm still yet to build the entry exit point on this side, And same for the other side. I've got it partially built up. I got to finish building that up and then cover it in dirt. And then I'll fill dirt over top of the bridge, the bottom part of the bridge, so you can still drive through. And I've got a bunch of rock here. This is what I'm calling like my little mountain area, the hill. There's a nice little entry point to get up in over here. You can also go over the backside, but it's real tippy because it falls off. Everything falls down inside this little hole, and then you kind of climb back up the hill. This is a pretty fun line to try and climb up and out of. If you go this route, it gets real sketchy. This side, you can grip on the wood, can get a little sketchy. And then this rock I really enjoyed placing this rock because it really messes with things in this area. So there's some really good gate opportunities. Same with this rock kind of hanging out. It makes everything really undercut, makes things real interesting. I still have to place a bunch of dirt in these cracks. Like, for example, this rock, those are just sitting on top right now. I got to fill those in, get those solid. And again, like I said, I got to build this up for the bridge. And then I believe this is just going to be nice and flat in here. You can kind of see the notches that I was talking about. But that's the majority of the table. Again, the table is on casters. So even one-handed, you'll see I can, if I get over here and get a little leverage, I can roll this thing around and move it if I need to. So for example, my son likes to take that big wheel down there and he makes laps around here, around the back, and he loops. So when he wants to do that, I just push the table all the way against the wall over there, and then it's out of the way for him. He has a lot of space to move around. So even though this thing is still fairly heavy, like, I can move it around. It's really solidly built. Like I already mentioned, I know I just kind of went over a lot of the course and the table right now, but this is our crawler table where I'm just going to plan to be able to run my trucks and have fun with my son and test things and tune them and get them where I want before I go to a competition at Reaction or wherever. But there will be a video in the near future that details everything out after I get things finished with the table to where it's comp ready, because my goal for this table is to be able to host my own competition, whether it be me and one other guy or two other people, or if it's 10 guys. I want to host a competition in February, and it is now January 14th. So that's the goal for the table. But this is our RC crawler hobby. For those of you that just don't understand it or don't know why we do this, it's just a fun thing to do. Our friend Eric Walton got me hooked with the blue Gladiator that you see right there and the purple Wrangler. Those were our first original two that we bought after we drove his up at the Silver Lake Sand Dunes, and I was hooked after that. So I'm like, I need to get my own. And here we are today, playing with these silly things, and we modify them, spend a bunch of money on them, and change them, and tweak them, and then run them, and they're just a really good time. I've had a lot of good memories with my son already because of these RCs, and made some new friends, and enjoyed more memories with current friends and family. So they bring a big joy to my life that gives me an opportunity to make memories with family and friends. So that's why we do what we do. And like I said, if you're not interested in this content, I completely understand. Hopefully you'll still continue to follow along with our journey. I plan to have other content here very soon. We're going to plan to do some Jeep trails in the very near future while there's some snow on the ground. So there's going to be some snowy Jeep content coming soon. We're in the works of planning a potential ski trip, which could be a major trip. So there might be a pretty big video coming from that. I am currently working on our Colorado/Moab video, so that will be out in the near future. So if the RC thing isn't your thing, you're not interested in it, keep watching, keep staying tuned, because there's going to be other content other than RC, but there will be an uptick in RC content here while it's wintertime. So hopefully you guys will enjoy, and even if RC is not your thing, maybe you'll find it enjoyable to see some of the rigs that we build, what we do with them, what they actually are, how they work. Maybe it sparks you to say, hey, that's something cool, I like watching it, or maybe it sparks you to want to go get your own. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the little notification bell, and we will see you guys in the next video. See ya.